Have you ever wondered how the formation of a country could influence the rise of radicalism? Today, we delve into the story of a country born of division and carved out from the heart of the Indian subcontinent. In 1947, the world witnessed the birth of Pakistan, a nation built on the pillars of religious identity and cultural separateness. The partition of India, a monumental event that shook the world, was not just a mere political act. It was a turbulent, fraught process that tore apart families, communities, and a shared history that spanned centuries. The partition was driven by the concept of two nations based on the religious identities of Hindu and Muslim. This idea was the brainchild of the All India Muslim League, led by the charismatic and enigmatic Muhammad Ali Jinnah. The demand for a separate nation for the Muslims of India was not an overnight decision. It was the culmination of decades of political maneuvering, religious awakening, and a deep-seated fear of marginalization. The Muslim population, which formed a significant minority in British India, feared being overshadowed in a predominantly Hindu India. Thus, the clarion call for a separate homeland, a nation where they could practice their faith freely and govern themselves in accordance with their religious and cultural norms. Pakistan, meaning land of the pure, was envisioned as a beacon of hope, a sanctuary for the Muslims of the subcontinent. But the birth of this nation was not without its share of bloodshed and turmoil. The partition witnessed one of the largest mass migrations in human history, marked by communal violence, loss, and the displacement of millions. Yet the creation of Pakistan was significant. It marked the first instance of a nation being carved out based on religion, setting a precedent for the role of religion in nation building. As we dive deeper into the story, we'll discover how this formation laid the groundwork for radicalism. The partition of India and Pakistan was a tumultuous event. What impact did it have on the newly formed nation? The partition of India in 1947 was far from a peaceful transition. It was, in fact, a period of unprecedented violence and upheaval. As the British withdrew, leaving behind two newly independent nations, the subcontinent was engulfed in chaos. The lines drawn by the partition triggered mass migrations as millions of Hindus and Sikhs moved towards India, while Muslims moved towards Pakistan. This was one of the largest mass migrations in human history, and it was accompanied by horrific violence. Communities that had coexisted peacefully for centuries were suddenly at each other's throats, driven by fear and hatred. The death toll is a grim testament to the brutality of this period, with estimates ranging from several 100,000 to 2 million lives lost. But the scars of partition ran deeper than the physical violence. The trauma of this event has lingered on for generations, shaping the psyche of both nations, but particularly Pakistan. The experience of displacement and persecution left a deep imprint on the national consciousness, fostering a sense of vulnerability and a siege mentality. The partition also set the stage for the enduring tensions between India and Pakistan. The unresolved issues around borders and the status of Kashmir have fueled several wars and countless skirmishes. These tensions have been a constant backdrop to Pakistan's national narrative, influencing its domestic and foreign policies. In the crucible of partition, the national identity of Pakistan was forged. From the ashes of violence and displacement, a new nation emerged defined by its Islamic identity and its opposition to India. This identity was further strengthened by the struggles of the early years as the country grappled with the challenges of nation building amidst a hostile environment. The seeds of radicalism were sown in this turbulent soil, nurtured by the struggles of a nascent nation. The violence and upheaval of partition, the tensions with India, and the challenges of nation building have all contributed to the rise of radicalism in Pakistan, a dark quest that we will explore in the next scene. But how did these seeds of radicalism germinate? In the tumultuous aftermath of partition, the nascent state of Pakistan was grappling with a multitude of challenges. While the struggle to establish a functioning government and to address the refugee crisis were immediate concerns, the seeds of radicalism were silently being sown. The roots of radicalism in Pakistan can be traced back to the influence of religious leaders who capitalized on the emotional turmoil post-partition. They preached a version of Islam that was intolerant and fundamentalist, fostering an environment of extremism. This was a far cry from the vision of Pakistan's founding father, Muhammad Ali Jinnah. who envisaged a progressive state where religion would not dictate the affairs of the state. Political instability further fueled the rise of radicalism. A series of military coups, weak civilian governments, and the absence of a strong democratic framework created a power vacuum. This vacuum was exploited by extremist elements who used it to further their own agendas. The state's failure to establish a strong rule of law allowed these radical ideologies to take root and flourish. The story of radicalism in Pakistan would be incomplete without mentioning the role of foreign intervention. The Cold War era saw Pakistan become a key player in the global power dynamics. The involvement of foreign powers, especially during the Soviet-Afghan War, led to the militarization of the society and the promotion of a radical version of Islam to counter the communist ideology. The aftermath of this war left Pakistan with a heavily armed and radicalized population, setting the stage for the rise of militancy and terrorism. In essence, the rise of radicalism in Pakistan was not an overnight phenomenon. It was a gradual process, the result of a combination of internal and external factors that intertwined over the years. The influence of religious leaders, political instability, and foreign intervention all played significant roles in this complex narrative. As we've seen, the growth of radicalism in Pakistan was a complex process, influenced by a variety of factors. So, what were the consequences of this rise in radicalism? Let's delve into this question to understand the impact of radicalism on Pakistan and the broader world. Firstly, the rise of radicalism in Pakistan gave birth to extremist groups. These groups, driven by radical ideologies, have been involved in various acts of violence and terror, not just within Pakistan, but beyond its borders as well. They see themselves as the guardians of a particular interpretation of Islam and believe that any deviation from their interpretation is a direct attack on their faith. This has led to an increase in sectarian violence, further fragmenting the society. Secondly, the spread of sectarian violence has had devastating effects on the fabric of Pakistani society. The divisions have run deep, creating an atmosphere of fear and mistrust. Communities that once coexisted peacefully now live in constant fear of each other. The social cohesion that binds a society together has been severely damaged, leaving scars that will take generations to heal. Thirdly, the rise of radicalism in Pakistan has serious implications for global security. Pakistan's strategic location, its nuclear capability, and the existence of radical groups within its borders make it a significant concern for the international community. The fear is that these extremist groups could potentially get their hands on nuclear weapons, leading to catastrophic consequences. Moreover, the radicalism has also had a significant impact on Pakistan's economy. The ongoing violence and instability have deterred foreign investments, stunted economic growth, and led to significant brain drain. The bright minds that could have contributed to the development of the country are seeking opportunities elsewhere, thus depriving Pakistan of its valuable human capital. While the government has taken steps to counter radicalism, the road to recovery is long and fraught with challenges. Radicalism, like any other form of extremism, is a complex issue that requires a comprehensive approach, involving not just the government, but also civil society, religious leaders, and the international community. The rise of radicalism in Pakistan has had far-reaching impacts, both domestically and internationally. Let's remember, radicalism is not just a Pakistani problem, it's a global issue that requires collective action. As we reflect on the formation of Pakistan and the rise of Muslim radicalism, what lessons can we draw from this history? Our journey through time has taken us from the birth of a nation, through the aftermath of partition, to the rise and impact of radicalism. We've witnessed the evolution of Pakistan from its hopeful beginnings to its current struggles with extremism. The formation of Pakistan was not merely a political event but a social transformation that had far-reaching consequences. The partition, which marked the birth of Pakistan, was a tumultuous period, fraught with violence and displacement. It left deep scars on the collective psyche, fostering an environment ripe for radicalism. The tumultuous aftermath of partition created a vacuum, a void that was gradually filled by radical ideologies. The rise of radicalism was not an overnight phenomenon. It was a gradual process, fueled by political instability, social unrest, and economic hardship. The seeds of radicalism were sown in the fertile soil of discontentment and disillusionment. taking root and growing into an ideology that has shaped the socio-political landscape of Pakistan. This radicalism has had profound impacts. It has altered the fabric of society, influenced the course of politics, and shaped the perception of Pakistan on the global stage. But it's important to remember that radicalism is not inherent to Pakistan or to Islam. It's a product of circumstances fostered by a complex interplay of historical, socio-economic, and political factors. The lessons from this history are clear. Radicalism doesn't arise in a vacuum. It is a response to a set of circumstances and conditions. Understanding this is key to addressing contemporary issues of extremism. It's not enough to tackle the symptoms. We must address the root causes. And so, as we reflect on the formation of Pakistan and the rise of Muslim radicalism, we're reminded of the complexities of history and the intricacies of human nature. Understanding the past is crucial for tackling the challenges of the present. Let's keep this in mind as we navigate the complexities of our world today.